everyone. Welcome to the Horror Room. I'm Travis Bruce, and today we're doing another indie horror spotlight. Today, I have with us, he's an author, and he has a short story out right now that's called "Where the Grass Don't Grow and the Vultures Sing." I have with us Ed Rosick. Ed, welcome to the Horror Room.
Thanks, Travis. Glad to be here.
Pleasure, man. So tell us about "Where the Grass Don't Grow and Vultures Sing."
Where the Grass Don't Grow and Vultures Sing is my first collection of uh, horror short stories. Been writing and publishing forever, really, but professionally since the early 90s. And so since that time, I accumulated a fair number of short stories. And, probably a couple of years ago, I thought, man, I wonder if I could get some of these short stories published in a collection. So I got six of them together, wrote six new ones, put them together, and started looking for a publisher. And I found one in Bainham Books Press, a small independent publisher out of Britain.
Uh, yes. Can't think of her name. Cynthia? Cindy?
Crystal.
Crystal. Why do I keep calling Cindy for it? Crystal Bainham. Yes.
Yes.
Crystal.
Yep.
Yes. Big supporter of our channel.
Oh,
So,
great.
yes,
That's
I
great.
love Brandon Press.
Yep.
So, by the way, the title, where did you come up with the title? I
That,
love the title.
thank you. I love the title too. I don't know where it just was the same place I draw my stories, right? From the ether. It just I wanted a title that reflects the stories. And what I mean by that is this. The stories they're in our world, but they're not in our world. They're like the lives Ed and Travis live, but they're not. They're just off a little bit. I grew up with the Outer Limits. I grew up with the Twilight Zone and Night Gallery and all those strange things that were set in our world but weren't. So I wanted a title that reflected that. And so I thought where the grass don't grow and vultures sing it sort of reflects that. And the cover art, which my daughter did, by the way,
Oh, that's
reflects that.
awesome.
Thanks. Yeah, it reflects that too. It's just it's our world, but it's not. So that's where the title came from.
Now, so this is a collection of short story that you compiled over time. Now, when you were going back and, putting some of these short stories that you did a while back, did you make any tweaks or changes?
Tweaks and changes in sense of just light editing, not in the guts of the story. It just in some syntax and because some of these stories that are in there were written, oh man, 15, 16, 17 years ago. So I like to think I'm a little bit better of a writer now than I was then. So I tweaked them in the sense of just made the sentences a little stronger. Probably took out some adjectives because all us early writers love our adjectives. So took some of that out. But by and large, if you could find the stories that were written 15 years ago in the original magazines or anthologies, they'd be the same as they are in this collection.
Now, as a more mature author, was it kind of like reminiscing to go back and read some of these old stories from 15 years ago?
It was pretty cool actually. It's like, wow, I actually did a pretty good job on these things. I mean, and of course they're what I consider the better ones of my older stories, the ones that are in there. They're not all that old. I mean, there are a few in there that are only maybe 4 or 5 years old, but um, there are a couple that are 15 years old that I still really like. So yeah.
And it seems like when it comes to even films and even, books, when it comes to horror, short stories, anthology series are like making a huge comeback. Listen, I grew up on Outer Limits, Twilight Zone, Tales from the Crypt, Creepshow.
Yes.
I love those collection of stories. Sometimes they all tie together, but sometimes they don't. But it was fine.
Yep. Yeah. No. Exactly. Same with me. I love short stories. I love anthologies. The stories in this collection really don't. I mean, just in the sense of they're phantasmagorical, off kilter, but otherwise, none of them, none of them except three stories connect because there's three stories in here that have the same characters. I have learned to love these characters, and I've written about, oh my gosh, five or six stories now with them in it. So, but besides those stories, uh, all the rest don't really connect.
Now, was it hard as a writer to try to make different short stories, but have it overlaying connection between the
Uh,
stories?
well, Yes and no. I mean, for the all the stories, I mean, I've been writing long enough, and I have enough stories that have been published and written that haven't been published yet. It's not too hard anymore to make them match, so to speak, or make them at least come together in a puzzle piece. Um, I like to think I'm at the point of my writing career where if somebody reads a story of mine, they know it's my story. You know what I mean? Like if somebody reads a Stephen King story, I'm not Stephen King. I wish I had his bank account, but I mean, I mean, you read a King story, you know it's written by King. Um, so I think I'm at the point now where my voice comes through in my stories, for better or for worse, right? People like it or they don't. You read a story by Ed Rosick, you know it's written by me.
I can imagine, because I ask a lot of authors as who write short stories. I can imagine it's tough to actually, believe it or not, write a short story compared to a full length novel because you have a short time span and to get that beginning, middle, and end and close out that story compared to a novel where you have, you know, hundreds or thousands of pages to do it.
Amen to that. It's and that's why I like writing short stories. It's a challenge. To exactly as you say, to have a good beginning, middle, and end in 3, 4, 5,000 words. I mean, that's hard to do, and it's a challenge. Short stories, you got to hook the reader right in the beginning. I mean, the first 2, 3 sentences. If you don't hook them, they're not going to read it, and they shouldn't. Um, so whereas with a novel, you can really expand it, which is on the flip side why I like writing novels too, because I can really expand it. But short stories, you gotta jump right in, man. You gotta hook the reader and keep them going.
I agree, but that's why I like short stories. It gets right to the point, boom,
Yep,
and it gives you that fulfillment in a quick, easy way.
absolutely, absolutely. So hopefully all these stories do that. I think they do. So
Now, so I've had recent indie horror authors on, and a lot of them have said that they've noticed the influx of digital people audience buying more digital copies, whether it be through Kindle Unlimited or just getting an actual physical digital. Is that something you noticed?
uh, to a degree, I have. Although our third quarter report's coming up next month, so I'll get numbers and see. So we'll see how sales went, Kindle versus hardcover versus yeah, Kindle versus hardcover.
Because I mean, like I'm still. By the way, my cat's about to make an appearance, but I'm still I like a hard copy. But I have been using Kindle Unlimited a lot more because it gives me an option to meet, I mean, and get introduced to authors that I normally don't get a chance to read, or, it's a great way to stumble on and find brand new authors.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, people ask me how many books you read a year. Probably complete books, 150, 200 a year. But if you include Kindle downloads, right, the Kindle sample chapters, I, I'd probably put that at 1,000. I mean, like you, I use that to weed out who I want to read, right? If I
Hmm.
download a sample chapter or two and I really like it, I'll buy the book. If I don't, then I don't have to buy it. So I think it really has, as you say, expanded the range that indie authors can get to readers.
I have a controversial question to ask you. It's just a personal
Sure.
thing. I have read several self-published um, indie horror books, and I've read several from like small presses, like for instance, Bynum Press. Unfortunately, with some of the self-published, I can see that there was no proofreader or there was no editor because certain the stories they're great stories, but they go all over the place, or it seems like something is missing. How important do you feel it is as an author to have someone to oversee your book or proofread or even edit?
I think it's vital. I try to help educate early authors, younger authors, or just new authors, no matter how old they are, that you have to have multiple sets of eyes on your book before you put it out to the public. Um, and that's where self-publishing gets a bad rap. It's just like you said, Travis. I mean, if it's not proofed, if it's not um, looked over with a critical eye and edited with what I like to say ruthless efficiency, um, then readers are going to be just like you. They're going to say, "Oh yeah, in this collection of words, there's a great story, but it's just not coming out." So whether if it's what I tell again, authors that want to self-publish, fantastic, self-publish. Get yourself a proofreader. I mean, hire one. It's going to cost you money, but in the long run, it's going to be worth it. So that's kind of the nice thing about, well, not kind of, it's one of the nice things about working with smaller presses or indie presses, that they do proof it. They do have editors look over and say, hey, this isn't working. Why don't you cut this out, or why don't you change this? So
Is that the route that you think you'll be going for the rest of your career? Do you think you're going to stay to small press or
you know,
press in general?
well, that's a great question. I mean, certainly, if Penguin or Simon and Schuster comes and says, "Hey, Rosie, we want to pay you," I'm grabbing that up in a heartbeat. Uh, but I'm not counting on that. So I like small presses because they're generally more open to authors that haven't been published by the big girls and boys. But I'm not against self-publishing. I'm really not. I mean, if I had a book out and I really believed in it, and I was able to find a good editor and proofreader, I wouldn't have a problem self-publishing it. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what the future brings.
Are you excited? Because I mean, it seems like right now there's a huge boom when it comes to indie horror writers. There's so many great talents coming out. People are with even with self-publishing and smaller presses, it just seems like a lot of individuals who wanted to be authors or get their story or their word out there, they now have the opportunity.
Absolutely, it's a very exciting time. As the saying goes, it's the best of times and worst of times to be a writer. It's the best of times because exactly what you said. I mean, you can independently publish, you can do hybrid publishing. There's a plethora of indie publishers out there. Um, the bad news is that there's a whole lot of stuff out there, as you say, that isn't real good. So how do you distinguish yourself between what isn't real good and what is? I mean, you work at your craft and put out the best product you can.
Do you think over time that's going to fix itself? Like, because there's no gatekeeper right now for the most part. Do
Nope.
you think that's going to do you think that's going to fix itself? Do you think Amazon and some of these self-publishing companies are going to be more picky on which books they choose?
Well, Amazon's not.
Oh,
Right.
yes.
All I am, and every other author is to Amazon we're algorithms, right? We're numbers. We don't.
Hmm.
They could care less. I mean, they would love for Rosic to sell 1 million copies, but if Rosic doesn't, they don't care. Um, so I don't think Amazon and the megalith publishers, if you let's call them that, will do anything. I think the marketplace will. Readers will. I mean, readers are going to gravitate toward good work. They always have and they always will. Um, right. All art is subjective. So, I mean, I'll read some books and I'll say, wow, this thing stinks. And yet it sold a lot of copies. So that's great. Good for the author. But, I think in the end, good work will get out there.
I 1% agree. I 1% agree.
Yeah.
Now, Ed, where can everyone find you and your work?
Um, they can find me on Amazon, of course, because who isn't on Amazon?
Yeah.
They can find me up, but they can also find me on my website at www.edrosick, that's edrosick.net. And so they can see what I've been up to, what I'm working on. They can read sample chapters from Where the Grass Don't Grow and Vultures Sing for free, my favorite word. Um, so yeah, they go to the website, and I update it every month, put new stuff up every month, and let people know what I'm working on, what's coming out next, and take it from there.
Well, listen, it's great to have you on. By the way, shout out to Beta Press once again, doing a
Thanks.
great job over
Yep.
there. Listen, everybody, go out there and grab your copy of The Grass, Where the Grass Don't Grow, but the Vultures Sing. Ed, it's been a pleasure having you on. By the way, also down in the description, I have Ed's website, so please click on that and go ahead and support him.
Thank
Ed, it's
you.
been a pleasure having you on, man.
Same here, Travis. Hope we can do this again.
Yes, most definitely, man. Listen, anything else, just hit me up.
Will
Be
do.
glad to have you on.
Thank you.
All right, everyone. You're welcome. Everyone, thank you for coming to another edition of the Horror Room. I'm Travis Bruce, and that's Ed Rosick. We'll see you next time. Take care.